Hot Wheels has got to be the most popular toy car company of all time. And over the nearly 60 years of them being around, they've constantly been coming up with ridiculous car designs, strange gimmicks, and more. But recently, they've also been sort of stretching the definition of toy car. From skateboards to boats to literal spaceships, these doodads having the Hot Wheels logo on them just feels so wrong. So today I thought it would be interesting to take a closer look at these strange oddities in Hot Wheels history. I have done a ton of research into as many non-car Hot Wheels I could possibly find, and in this video I will present to you my findings. But firstly, before we get to the ridiculous stuff, there's a bunch of Hot Wheels that aren't exactly cars, but they are actual vehicles, so I never really found these that weird. Stuff like the multiple different types of buses. Like, there's genuinely so many freaking bus Hot Wheels. The public transportation situation in Hot Wheels world is looking good. They also made your fair share of dump trucks and cement mixers in the 80s, and also forklift Hot Wheels and bulldozers and tractors for some reason. There's even enough tank Hot Wheels to power a whole army. Why do they even need these? Although the plethora of motorcycle Hot Wheels is kind of strange to me. Like, obviously they make sense, because motorcycles go on the road and stuff, but the key difference is the fact that they only have 2 wheels, so most of them can't even stand up on their own. You can't roll them around, you can't put them on racetracks, there's not even a point in playing with these. Yet despite that, there's so many freaking motorcycle Hot Wheels. From realistic ones to futuristic ones to Vespas, I guess. Just why are there so many of these? I don't get it. But as I dug deeper into the Hot Wheels archives, I discovered an entire genre of Hot Wheels that are absolutely not a car in any way. They all exist in this weird gray area where they do have at least 4 wheels, but they just don't fit enough criteria to actually be considered a car. For example, the Aisle Driver Hot Wheel from 2017. This ain't no car, and it's not even a transportation vehicle in any way, because as you can see, it's literally just a dude on a shopping cart. He looks like he's having so much fun though, look at him! It's just so funny how a shopping cart is like the lamest wheeled vehicle imaginable, but I feel like that's exactly what I love about this thing so much. This doohickey solely belongs in the mundane environment of a grocery store, yet now it can race along with actual cars, and it looks so goofy right next to them. I've always wanted to get in a shopping cart and roll around at maximum speed, so this Hot Wheel finally lets me live out those childhood dreams, but the theming is a little too generic, not gonna lie. So good thing in 2022 they released this Target exclusive Super Rig set, which includes a Target themed aisle driver. I really like the idea of theming the shopping carts after real stores. I wish they did that more. Like, imagine if you could get a Walmart one, or for the Australians a Woolies trolley. Just a crazy missed opportunity for brand deals. But speaking of Hot Wheels with a little dude on it, we have 2 different skateboard Hot Wheels. The Skate Ground from 2013 and the Skate Brigade from 2016. And they're both just a dude on a skateboard with very slight differences. You can even take the guy off the board, and now the entire Hot Wheel is just a skateboard by itself. That looks so weird. Once again, they look very silly next to normal cars. Also, now that I think about it, if you take the scale into consideration, this guy is like over 10 feet tall. Even the aisle driver is like that, just a giant riding a massive shopping cart. These guys would be terrifying to see on the highway. But speaking of skateboards, in 2022, they literally just started making fingerboards. This is the Hot Wheels Skate series, which is pretty much the exact same thing as Tech Decks. Although the main difference is that it comes with these little shoes for you to put your fingers in, so it's much easier to pretend to skate around. And these just have nothing to do with Hot Wheels cars at all. It's not even the same size or material. It's literally just a Tech Deck. But I'll let it slide for now because at least it does have wheels. That may or may not be hot in certain scenarios. But what if like a skateboard with no wheels and it goes on water instead of road? The Surf's Up Hot Wheel came out for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, and this time it's just a dude on a surfboard as a Hot Wheel. I think it actually looks pretty cool though, with the water wave on the bottom and the secret wheel so it can actually roll around. Although it is kind of ridiculous that he's just surfing on a wave that infinitely spawns under him, even if he's on the road. Maybe he has like water bending powers or something? I don't know. But that's not the last of the Olympic sport Hot Wheels, because we also have the Ice Shredder, which is basically just a bobsled, but they secretly replaced the ice skate thingies with wheels. Yet another vehicle that does not belong anywhere near the road. The single sole purpose of a bobsled is for sliding down those Olympic ice tracks. It's just such a hyper-specific thing, so it's really funny to see it driving around in a parking lot. There's even some attention to detail with all 4 guys on the back, just like the real sport. But we also have the Loopster, which is a roller coaster turned into a Hot Wheel this time. Another vehicle that only works in one situation in particular. A roller coaster cannot roll around on the road, you can't race it on a racetrack, they are built to only be attached to a roller coaster track. So this just makes no sense and I love it. It also comes with an extra fun little gimmick where the front and back have these hooks. So if you get a bunch of them, you can hook them all together like an actual roller coaster. And now it looks even more dumb. It's like they got derailed from a roller coaster track and just started driving around on the road anyways. This is ridiculous. And speaking of theme parks, they also made bumper cars into a Hot Wheel too. Alright, I know bumper car has car in the name, but these are just not cars, okay? Usually they can only drive around on the magnetically charged Florida thingamabobs, and the max speed is probably like 2 miles per hour. I do love the idea of breaking out of the carnival ride and just barreling down the highway at ridiculous speeds in this thing. And you don't even need to imagine it because you can literally play as this bumper car in the Hot Wheels Unleashed games. And just look at how stupid it looks, hell yeah. But this Hot Wheel is just a wheelchair. Cool. I mean, wheelchair has wheel in the name, and the wheels could be hot. Although it is pretty funny that we went from toy cars to just a wheelchair. It does have some pretty cool lore though, because it's based on the stunt wheelchair used by the legendary Aaron Fotheringham. He actually does insane flips and tricks on a wheelchair in real life. It's awesome. And it also has an extra gimmick where you can stand it up in the wheelie position, which is yet another cool way to make it stand out even more from normal cars. But if you're feeling a bit festive, in 2015, they started releasing these Hot Wheels advent calendars, where each day you would get a random car or accessory. And in these advent calendars, you could get a sled Hot Wheel. It's literally just a Christmas sled, it's so cute. But like, a sled can only move around if it's being pulled by something else or using gravity to go down a hill. And it usually only works on snow. So being able to drive this around on the road makes no sense. Obviously, there's hidden wheels on the bottom, but just pretend those aren't there. It's already a pretty funny vehicle on its own, but this actually has a main gimmick that makes it even funnier, because basically any normal sized Hot Wheel is able to ride the sled, and this just looks so dumb. I love it. But theoretically, doesn't this mean we can just put another non-car Hot Wheel on it? That means we can have 2 non-car Hot Wheels merged into one. I gotta try this. Alright, so here's a bumper car on a sled. Wait, that actually works. That's so funny. Are sleds wheelchair accessible? Hell yes, that actually works. Alright, but what about a dude on a skateboard on a sled? But what if we want to do some shopping in the snowy mountains? Bobsled on the sled. An entire roller coaster attached to the sled. Hell yeah. I'm done with this. Next, I present to you the Dragon Wagon, a Hot Wheel that's just based on those silly toy wagons. We're just turning freaking anything into a Hot Wheel now. Like, really? A toy wagon? What are you even gonna do with this? Like, fill it up with toys and drag it around the playground? Grow up, man. Anyways, this doohickey is so unserious, I love it. I remember sitting in one of these wagons as a kid and imagining flying down the road at hundreds of miles per hour. So this Hot Wheel is the manifestation of that childhood dream. But what kind of toys would you put in this wagon? Maybe like that one creepy Fisher-Price telephone? Well, good thing they turned that into a Hot Wheel as well, with the Quick Chat released in 2025. Conveniently, the original toy it's based on already has wheels, so they didn't really need to do much to turn it into a Hot Wheel. It's also just as creepy in Hot Wheel form as well. Make sure not to look into his eyes for too long. Just imagine a giant version of this barreling down the highway. That sounds terrifying. If it makes it any better, it also has a silly gimmick where whenever you roll it around, the phone on the back shakes around. So I guess the engine is powered on phone calls or something. But I don't play with toys anymore. I play video games like Minecraft. So good thing they turned the freaking Minecraft minecart into a Hot Wheel as well. I love how they barely even adjusted the design at all. Like, it's just a minecart. I guess the wheels are a little bigger, and the slightly 3D pixels are so satisfying. Although it looks extra stupid when you put it next to normal cars. It's just a giant gray rectangle that looks so dumb. Also in Minecraft, the minecart only works specifically on rails, so being able to drive it around a parking lot feels so wrong. They also made a few bonus colors of it, which is kinda neat, such as the gold minecart and the grass block minecart. I don't know why, but I really like how these look. They're just so satisfying. And if you're wondering why the top part looks weird, that's because you're supposed to put these stupid Minecraft figures in it. But I don't really really have any, so I just have an empty minecart. But instead of minecart, what about Mario Kart? Because there is your fair share of Mario Kart Hot Wheels, and I don't really think there's anything weird about that. But what is strange is the Mario Kart blind boxes, a series of Hot Wheels that are literally just random items and obstacles on wheels. And I just don't get the point of these. Like, here's just a Goomba on wheels, or a banana, or Cheep Cheep, or my favorite, the Moo Moo Meadows cow, which I actually have in real life. I assume you're supposed to pretend the shiny base doodad with transparent wheels isn't actually there, and this is just supposed to represent a cow that wandered onto the racetrack as like an obstacle. But then why even put the wheels there? They gifted her the ability to drive around, but no actual car to drive around in. Anyways, since this does have wheels, that means we can attach it to the sled from earlier, and it just looks so freaking silly. This was so worth it, man. Although the entire concept of boats have nothing to do with the road and nothing to do with solid ground in general. So why the heck did they make so many goddamn boat Hot Wheels? And they always have secret wheels on the bottom that you're not supposed to look at. It's like he's embarrassed to be technically a car now. Aww. But if we want to make this even more peculiar, how about the Disney Steamboat Hot Wheel, which is specifically the boat from the Steamboat Willie animation made almost 100 years ago in 1928. This is the most obscure boat they could possibly choose. And despite all that, this doohickey is so freaking cool. I love it. For some reason, there's only one singular wheel on the bottom, and whenever it rolls around, the paddle thingies on the side spin around. Although the way this entire cartoon boat just slides on the road looks so dumb, and it looks even more dumb next to actual cars. But out of all the transportation vehicles, from cars to skateboards to boats, a freaking submarine is something I never would have expected to be a Hot Wheel. And not just any submarine, specifically the yellow submarine from the Beatles movie released in the 60s. What's with all these deep cut references being turned into Hot Wheels? This is crazy. Anyways, with the nature of being a brightly colored cartoon submarine, this looks utterly ridiculous next to normal cars. At least the Beatles can finally drive around on a Hot Wheels racetrack. And of course it has hidden wheels on the bottom, because obviously you can't have a Hot Wheel without wheels, right? It's quite literally in the name of the brand. But as we go deeper into the archives, I must present to you the most cursed items of all, Hot Wheels that don't even have wheels. And this isn't just a one-off silly thing they did one time. There's a surprising amount of Hot Wheels without wheels. They just kept doing it over and over again. The wheels can't be hot when there's not even wheels in the first place. False advertising. But as weird as this seems, they've been doing it for a while. For example, the Blimp Hot Wheel that first released all the way back in 1991, themed after the legendary Goodyear blimp from real life. And as you can see, not a single wheel in sight, just living in the moment. But that's not all, because there is an extra gimmick where you can rotate the tail on the back to reveal a different message for some reason. Even though it's not a car, I still kinda like this thingamajig. It's just such a satisfying little shape. And blimps are such cool vehicles, especially when there's only 25 working blimps left in the world. And I guess the general audience agrees, because over the years, they've made so many different versions with a bunch of real life brands on them, such as the freaking Tide Pod blimp, I guess. They even recreated other blimps from real life as well, such as the Saturn blimp or the Fuji Films blimp. But the confusing lack of wheels continues with the sheer amount of helicopter Hot Wheels as well. Yet another air vehicle that has nothing to do with roads whatsoever. And over the years, they were releasing a ridiculous amount of these. Just an endless fleet of helicopters year after year. Just make them a different brand, dude. Why are these even called Hot Wheels? First, there's the Proper Chopper released in the 90s that has so many different versions. Then there's all the other random generic helicopters. We also got the Batcopter, I guess. And then in 2018, they made the freaking Thanos copter into a Hot Wheel. What are we even doing anymore, man? This is such a 2018 item. Just put all the freaking Thanos memes on screen, I don't care. Now that we've already had blimps and helicopters, why not planes as well? Let's just turn every single freaking air vehicle into a Hot Wheel. Because of course that's what Hot Wheels are known for. Air vehicles. First off, we have the Mad Props from 2004, although it does actually have 2 wheels, so I'll let that one slide for now. There's also the entire Hot Wheels Jet series that you can shoot into the air, I guess. And then they made an entire video game just based on the Jet Hot Wheels in 1999. Why did they even make this? This has nothing to do with Hot Wheels. Wheels. We also got the Batplane and the Batwing and the Bat. So there's every single Batman-themed air vehicle, I guess. Why not? We even got the X-Men jet, or the G.I. Joe jet, or the Top Gun Maverick jet. I think I made my point clear by now. They made way too many of these freaking things. But speaking of clear things, what about the Wonder Woman Invisible Jet Hot Wheel? You've heard of Hot Wheels with no wheels, so how about a Hot Wheel with nothing? Like, there's literally nothing in the freaking box. There's just the imprinted shape of a jet in the packaging. Anyways, the real story is that in 2010, Mattel announced this item as an April Fool's joke, and everyone thought it was so funny that they made it a real limited edition product that you can actually buy at Comic-Con. And eventually it was re-released in 2017 as a Walmart exclusive thingy as well. Maybe there actually is an invisible item in the box, but according to my sources, there's genuinely just nothing in there. But now that we have collected almost all forms of transportation, from the road, the water, the air, we will now make our journey to the final frontier of space. Because for some reason, there is a plethora of spaceship Hot Wheels, which of course don't have any wheels whatsoever. Something these all have in common is that every single spaceship Hot Wheel is from some kind of popular franchise, such as the Star Trek USS Enterprise, one of the most iconic spaceships of all time. And yeah, that's it. There it is. It's kind of just a piece of metal that looks like the spaceship, I guess. There is a stand so you can display it on a shelf or something, but besides that, you can't even do anything with this. It's nothing more than just a decoration at this point. And then they did the same thing, but for a bunch of other spaceships too, like the Guardians of the Galaxy ship or the Rick and Morty ship. And some of these aren't even iconic franchises. Like, who the hell is buying the XL-15 from the freaking Lightyear movie? But thankfully for the Jetsons, they actually did do something creative. By simply adding invisible wheels on the bottom, they effectively turned the ship into a car, which instantly makes it a way cooler item. Now you can drive it around to your heart's content while still looking like the iconic spaceship, and that would have been just fine, but they just had to also make a premium version with no freaking wheels. And it literally looks exactly the same, but now it's on a stand. It's like a spot the difference game with these doohickeys. Although it is pretty funny that you can buy this one futuristic spaceship either with or without wheels. And speaking of the future, they also made the Back to the Future hoverboard into a Hot Wheel for some reason. Not really a spaceship, but I just don't really know where else to put this in the video, because it's such a strange item. Like, it's pretty much just a flat piece of metal. And there's also a weird gimmick where they put a magnet in the packaging to make it look like it's actually floating. But outside of the packaging, it doesn't actually hover over magnets, because that's not really how the laws of physics work. So it's kind of just false advertising. But when Mattel finally got a hold of Star Wars in 2015, they made so many Hot Wheels that they gave them their own name and logo, Hot Wheels Starships. And they proceeded to turn every single vehicle from Star Wars into a Hot Wheel, such as the plethora of Millennium Falcons and Star Destroyers and TIE Fighters and many more. And occasionally they did this weird gimmick called the Flight Navigator, which is basically just a display stand that can also attach to your finger for some reason. I guess you can like pretend to fly it around or something, but this just looks so freaking stupid. It's so much more inconvenient than just picking up the ship itself. What a strange gimmick. They even did a bunch of other random Star Wars doodads that aren't even spaceships, such as the AT-AT, which has freaking legs instead of wheels. They even did goddamn Baby Yoda himself. How the frick is this even a Hot Wheel? Go away. Neither of these items are a starship or have wheels, so both words in the brand name don't even apply. They truly left no stone unturned in the Star Wars franchise. But to be honest, overall, these are actually really cool collector's items, and I have no issue with their existence. It's just that the Hot Wheels logo being slapped onto all this makes no sense whatsoever. But no more of these fake spaceships, I want the real stuff. Well, good thing in the late 90s, Mattel started making Hot Wheels action packs, a very forgotten about series where each pack follows a central theme, and they usually only contain 1 or 2 Hot Wheels and a few random action figures. And they ended up making 5 space-themed action packs that don't even contain a single item that can rightfully be considered a Hot Wheel. For example, the Return to Mars pack, which is just a bunch of gizmos and baubles, or the Galileo mission pack with even more random satellite doodads that actually did orbit Jupiter in real life. We even got the John Glenn pack, which includes the Space Shuttle, which is actually a really sick no-wheels Hot Wheel. And the Apollo mission pack has the Lunar Rover Hot Wheel, which is actually a real vehicle that we genuinely drove around on the moon. So I guess this technically is a car? And finally, the Sojourner Mars Rover pack, which I actually was able to get my hands on. After opening it up, which was very difficult for some reason, we can finally see the random gizmos and baubles up close and personal. Low-key have no idea what these doodads even are, but they did actually land on Mars in real life, which is so cool to the space nerd within me. But the coolest part is the Mars Rover itself, which does have wheels, but unfortunately they're not the standard Hot Wheels wheels. They're actually just made of plastic and don't really work at all, so you sadly can't race it around on any racetracks. And some interesting trivia about this pack is that they released it before the rover even landed on Mars. You can even see text on some boxes saying, "The real rover is scheduled to land on Mars July 4th, 1997. And when it finally landed, he got to explore Mars for about 95 Earth days, before finally going offline forever. At least he is now immortalized as a Hot Wheel through this niche action pack, although it still doesn't make any sense to call this a Hot Wheel, come on. And speaking of Mars rovers, they even made the Curiosity rover into a Hot Wheel too. And this one you actually can drive around because it thankfully has functional wheels. Although, what is he even gonna do on a racetrack? His top speed is like 0.1 miles per hour. At this point, we need to accept that the Hot Wheels were never about the wheels, and it's not even about cars either. I don't even know what a Hot Wheel is anymore, man. But it's not like there's an actual issue with any of this. They've gone to much lower lows, trust me. I just think it's really funny that if you ask anyone, Hot Wheels is a toy car company. Yet, as you saw in this video, they have made so many peculiar items that have nothing to do with cars whatsoever. And they've even occasionally gone against the very name of the brand itself. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the mischievous activity of this so-called toy car brand. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and comment down below which non-car Hot Wheel is your favorite. Okay, bye!